Have you ever looked at someone with a massive salary, a doctor, a lawyer, a top-tier developer, and just thought, wow, they've got it made? But here's the crazy thing. So many of them feel just as stressed, just as broke as anyone else. It's a total paradox, right? Well, today, we're going to get into exactly why that is. We're going to uncover why a huge paycheck doesn't automatically mean you're wealthy. And this quote right here from a Reddit thread just nails it. It cuts right to the heart of the whole thing. See, there's a huge difference between earning a living and actually building wealth. The real secret isn't about working harder and harder for a bigger salary. It's about making your money work for you, even when you're asleep. So how on earth do you do that? Okay, it all starts right here, between the ears. The thing that separates feeling rich from feeling broke. It isn't the number on your paycheck. Not really. It's the financial playbook you're using. We're going to look at two totally different mindsets that lead to completely different results. Now, here's the thing. We're always taught to look at our own spending, right? To blame ourselves. But that's like trying to solve a maze by just staring at your feet. The problem isn't just you. It's the maze itself. It's the whole economic system that we're all playing in, and that system has a very specific history, with a set of rules that were designed on purpose to help certain players win. And that brings us to a really critical piece of the puzzle. The kind of secret history of consumer debt. A lot of the financial traps that trip people up today, they weren't accidents. Nope, they were created by deliberate decisions that completely rewrote the rules of money for pretty much everyone. So, let's peel back the curtain. So here's a quick rundown of how it all went down. Back in the late 70s, states had these things called usury laws that basically put a cap on how high interest rates could go. But then, South Dakota, trying to get more business, got rid of its cap entirely. Citibank, which was stuck with New York's limits, packed its bags and moved its whole credit card operation there. Then came the game changer, a Supreme Court ruling called the Marquette decision. This let banks export their home state's interest rates to customers all over the country. All of a sudden, those crazy high, uncapped South Dakota rates could be charged to anyone, anywhere. A few years later, another decision got rid of limits on fees, and boom, the floodgates were wide open. And this new Wild West of lending led to all sorts of creative, nasty little traps buried in the fine print. Take this one, universal default. Get this. This sneaky clause means if you're late on, say, your car payment, your credit card company can jack up your interest rate to some brutal penalty level, even if you have a perfect payment history with them. It's a system designed to punish you for any little stumble you make anywhere in your financial life. And boy, is this system profitable. We are talking over $30 billion a year for the industry. And most of that comes from what they call revolvers. That's the 90 million people who carry a balance from one month to the next. In the industry's totally upside-down world, their best customer is the one who can never quite pay off their debt. So how does this all circle back to our high earners? Well, they are often the prime targets for this whole system. They walk right into something called the high salary trap. Let's just create a quick profile here. Picture someone like Mikkel Saidi. He's a super skilled developer, tons of experience, an expert in his field. On paper, he's killing it, commands a top salary, looks totally successful. But even a pro at this level can feel the squeeze, big time. And this is exactly what that trap looks like. First, as your income goes up, so does your spending. That's lifestyle inflation. Pretty soon, those high monthly payments for the nice house, the new car, they become golden handcuffs. They chain you to a high-stress job you literally can't afford to quit. Every raise you get is just gobbled up by new debt. And the result? You end up rich on paper, but broke in reality, because you're just stacking up liabilities, things that take money from you instead of assets. But there is another way. There's a totally different logic, a counter logic, that wealthy people use to sidestep this trap and build real freedom. So let's dive into how they build a completely different financial world for themselves. Okay, look at this. The difference is just stark. The person who's rich on paper depends on one high salary, is drowning in monthly payments, and spends their money on liabilities, things that take money out of their pocket. Now, compare that to the person who's rich in reality. They're building multiple streams of income, they keep personal debt super low, and they buy assets, things that put money in their pocket. They make their money work for them.
The absolute critical difference here is how they look at the word debt. For most people, debt is for buying stuff. Cars, phones, vacations, things that go down in value. It's high interest, and it just eats away at your wealth. But for the wealthy, debt is a tool. It's strategic leverage. They use low-interest money to buy assets, like a rental property or a business, where the income from that asset pays off the loan and makes a profit. It becomes a tool to accelerate wealth, not destroy it.
You know, it all comes down to the questions you ask yourself. The broke mindset asks, how can I pay for this? The focus is on just being able to afford the expense. The wealthy mindset asks a different question. How can this pay for itself? The focus is on acquiring an asset that generates its own cash flow. One person is trading their time for money forever. The other is using their money to buy back their time.
It really is that simple and that profound. This one choice, this one shift in perspective, it pretty much determines your entire financial future. Are you going to be a worker for your money, or are you going to make your money an employee that works for you?
Okay, so how do you actually make the switch? How do you escape this trap and start building a life where your money is doing the heavy lifting? Well, it's not nearly as complicated as it sounds. It really just boils down to 3 clear, actionable steps.
All right, number 1, pay yourself first. What this means is your investment account is the most important bill you have. Treat it that way. Automate it so it happens before you can even think about it. Number 2, you have to consciously fight lifestyle creep. When you get a raise, your first thought shouldn't be, what bigger car can I buy? It should be, how many more assets can I acquire? And finally, number 3, focus on building a life, not just chasing a bigger and bigger salary. Real freedom doesn't come from the size of your paycheck. It comes from discipline and consistent habits over time.
So I'll just leave you with this one thought. Your salary, it's designed to help you make a living. It helps you survive day to day. But it's the assets you buy, the systems you build, and the mindset you adopt, that's what will ultimately make you wealthy. So the real question you have to ask yourself is, what are you building?